Hey, it's your Coach Aisha Cogborn from CoachAisha.com. And this week, I want to talk to you about fear. That's right, fear. Scary stuff, right? But we're not talking about a fear of spiders or a fear of heights, but we are talking about the kind of fear that is keeping you from moving forward on the thing that you know you've been put on this earth to do. Now, if I were to ask you, why you aren't moving forward. Now, it could be that you know that you've been called to start a business or write a book or to share your story or even just to use the gifts that you know you have in a much bigger way. If I ask you why you aren't moving forward, I'm sure you'd have plenty of good reasons for me, right? Well, I don't have enough time. The resources I need aren't there. Any number of good reasons. But what it typically boils down to is one or two things, and they all come down to fear. It's either a fear of success and the responsibility that's going to come when we reach that next level, or a fear of failure and what it's going to cost us, or what people might say if we're not successful. So what I want to do today is I want to walk you through an exercise to help you get rid of that paralyzing fear for good. That's right, we're getting rid of it. So go ahead, grab yourself some paper and a pen, or just make sure you've got your computer handy so you can jot down some notes. But here's what I want you to do. First thing, I want you to ask yourself, what am I afraid of? What am I afraid of? And I want you to write down every single thing that is invoking fear inside of you. I don't care how little it may seem, how huge it is. I don't care if you've got 2 things on your list or 22 things on your list. But write down every single thing that is creating that emotion inside of you. Write it down. Now, once you've got that list, I want you to go through it item by item and ask yourself, what's the worst that will happen if this fear is realized? And then ask yourself, and if that does happen, how long will it take me to recover? So take, for instance, one of the fears on your list is, well, if I invest in this business and it doesn't work out, then I could end up losing my money. I'll lose my investment. So let's just say that investment is $3,000. So if that is your fear, that you're going to lose that $3,000, ask yourself, how long will it take for you to recover from that? Well, if you think about how long it'll take you to save that back up again, maybe it's just a few months. So do that for every single item on your list. Walk it out, find out just how bad it'll be if that stuff comes true. And if it does come true, figure out how long it'll take before you can undo it. Now that's the first thing I want you to do with that list. Now the next thing I want you to do, and this is a whole lot more fun, I want you to think of all of the good things that could happen. I mean, if the sky's the limit, if things just grow beyond your wildest dreams, what are the wonderful things that could happen as a result of you moving forward? And if those things happen, how long will you realize those benefits? I mean, those benefits could trickle down to your children and your children's children and their children. I mean, so really think about how far this thing will go. Then I want you to do one more thing. I want you to make a list of all of the people who will suffer if you don't move forward. And this is the bottom line. When it comes down to you fulfilling your purpose, walking in your calling, please recognize that it's not about you. Because if it was just about whether or not you wanted to do it and if you were going to benefit from it, I would not even be making this video because, quite honestly, I wouldn't care. But this thing is bigger than us. It's so much bigger than us because there are people who are waiting to read that book. That invention that you have inside of you is going to make somebody's life so much easier. That business that you're going to start is going to provide jobs in the community. It's going to allow you to be able to invest in the causes that you care about in a bigger way, to help your community, to help your church. This thing is so much bigger than you. So think about all of the people who will suffer if you allow fear to hold you hostage. Write it down. And then I want you to ask yourself a simple question, yes or no. Are you going to allow that fear to overrule the benefits that you stand to realize? And are you going to allow that fear to make those people who are waiting and depending on you, are you going to make them suffer over a little emotion? Over some stuff on a piece of paper now because you wrote it down there, and chances are you realize that it's not as bad as you thought. So ask yourself, are you going to let fear stay in the driver's seat while you just let it take you wherever it wants? Or are you going to take that next step? And I tell you, one of the biggest fears is the fear of the unknown. But guess what? You don't have to know all the answers. Just do what you know to do now. If you know one thing, just do that one thing. Take that next step. And I promise you, when you take that next step, the next one will appear, and so will the next, and so will the next. But we cannot allow fear to rule us. God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And so I encourage you to walk in that power today. Do that thing that you know you've been put here to do. Take that next step because people are waiting. So until next time, have a wonderful week on purpose.